Usually I am the villain everywhere, and unfortunately it is my job to do, and I'm doing it. So thank you so much, sir. Sir has proven that knowledge may give the path, but it is the wisdom that gives the perspective. And thank you so much for a thought-provoking lecture on perspectives and sustainability, because it's not just the eco-friendly sustainability or financial sustainability that we talk about. It's also about how to think about it, from which point to think about it. That is also a true game changer, I would say. Now, moving on, I call upon Shri Bhargav Ramana Rai, co-founder and chief executive officer, Marutsaka Aerospace and Aviation. He holds an MBA degree in aviation business management from Jain University, Bengaluru, along with leadership certificate program from Ivy Business School, University of Western Ontario, Canada, and a bachelor's degree in aeronautical engineering from Jawaharlal Nehru Technology University, Hyderabad. I request Shri Bhargav Ramana Rai to deliver his lecture on technology, a smart tool in sustainability. Stage is yours, sir.
Thank you for the introduction, Mr. Praveen. Well, it's been, it's going to be a challenge to me because it's post-lunch session. So I will not take much time than what is being allotted as well. I know it's 15 minutes, but I'll be going through the short and simple speech to the point. My point is the technology, a smart tool in sustainability. Sustainability is something which has been spoken since morning. In various ways we have been discussing about. This thought of mine, how we can look at technology, which is something which I got during the pandemic time, where we started searching about the ways. In fact, the company which I had is an L&D company where we conduct various training programs. The challenge which popped in my head, or which was hitting on my head, is the pandemic. That time we were unable to conduct any of the training programs, or we cannot meet also. In fact, all of us were locked in certain space. So then the solution was through video conferencing, which for a long time all of us have been through the training programs. I started thinking on in which way we can contribute for the sustainability, or for certain holding up of the spirit of the people who are into the aviation. This I started thinking because as a learning and development company's head, people started, the students or the learners who take our courses started reaching out and saying, what is going to be our future? Aircrafts are grounded. There are many organizations which are giving data, saying that for these many years it's not going to recover, there won't be this recovery rate, this, that, and all. So hearing all those things, then I thought there should be certain, when certain significant event happens, we come across certain milestones or certain, another significant events which will give solutions. I thought there should be some innovation which could give a solution. That's where we have collaborated with a French company which is Force Air, smart airport systems, which mainly works or focuses on something called paperless airports. Eco-friendly for that matter. What does we do here? I just want to give a small briefing about it. Can I go to the next slide? That's great. Next slide. This I will tell you at the end. Yeah. And the next slide. So next slide. Yeah. This is an information management system which enables you to take control on the air side. Most of the innovations at that time were mainly in the passenger front. I agree there was a lot of requirement to bring in the passengers back who were stranded at various places. There were a lot of smart air travel. We have also heard of this something called smart air travel, paperless air travel on the passenger front. We gave a thought, and this is something like the management system on the airside operations, maintenance of the airport, total airport management systems, which makes the entire airport by integrating all the departments. Something like you must be hearing this word, something called airport in a box, which is the new concept emerging in terms of the analytics of the data, where all the departments are integrated into one dashboard, and you can handle the operations by sitting in one place. That is this. We did successfully implement this in our the airport called Cochin International Airport. Cochin International Airport, again, as a part of sustainability, when we make a point, I've been hearing, I mean, we all have been hearing about the fuel line of talk and many other areas of talk. One more concept which the Indian airports does, we should certainly appreciate the airports for doing this. In fact, for that matter, Cochin Airport is the UN Earth Champion Award recipient in the year 2018 for becoming 100% usage. They use 100%. They run on solar power. Whenever we travel on the airport, we can see on either sides of the airport it will be written that sun powers the airport. Besides which, there is also something called the agrivoltaic technology which they use. With which you develop the vegetables there, with which you grow the vegetables there from the water which is being used to cool the solar cells. Isn't it something called sustainability? A wonderful sustainability which we have in the Indian airports. Besides which, there is also another concept which I would like to highlight at the moment in the Indian airports, which is our Bengaluru's airport. Bengaluru's airport does. This is again, you call solar power, sun powers the airport, water powers the airport, I can say. I mean, not in terms of power, but then an idiomatic expression I can use, because Bengaluru airport stands as water positive airport. So you save water more than what you use. Being demographically, it is being beneficial to this airport, and even Bengaluru airport does it 100% solar power. For that matter, besides Bengaluru, Cochin, Delhi airport also uses solar power. So not just the fuel aspect, but also the energy efficiency, modus operandi of an airport in everyday operations. These are some of those things which can benefit. In fact, this was that time where the focus was completely on the front of passengers. The employee front, where if an employee gets COVID positive, having an interaction, then they have to be restrained. They have to be, then what about the operations? Aviation industry, again, sustaining skilled manpower is a big challenge. Having right skilled manpower is again another challenge. So therefore, I mean, we worked on this, which is something can you go to the next slide, please? What are the areas which we have been working upon? Airside operations, fire service management, hazard management, shift management, vehicle inventory, staff management, documentation, everything is according to the ICAO compliant and the local aviation authorities compliant. It is being, who can input? The team, respective team, and as guided by the airport, the information will be taken and it will be disseminated to the concerned authorities by having a control with the authority, the number one of the airport. Next slide. What data can users input? Users can use it to identify the anomalies. Besides these things which I have been showing here, the recent advancement in the airport operations is your GRF RCR, global reporting format of the runway condition in the airport. For that, a person who does the runway inspection, or the surveillance officers or the runway inspection team which does it, once you take the data, put it in the software, you get the result published as per the complaint of ICAO. Next slide. This is one of the sample when there is some emergency, color changes, it triggers messages. It triggers messages to the right teams. It even integrates with the telephonic and it initiates the hotline communication so that the airport gets on board. Our main intention in doing something like this is to hold upon the the skilled manpower, mainly the people should avoid, it was that requirement. Over the time, it is being very helpful to the airports to integrate with different departments, and then now we are also in discussions with groups of airports where we are planning to put 4 to 5 airports in one dashboard, and the information can be seen immediately. A response can be. So the technology doesn't just harm; it also gives certain solutions and innovations which we can also observe through this example and through many examples which have been going through all the while since today. This is my input, and I would like to say thanks for giving me this opportunity. I'm looking forward to discuss with the people out here.
Can we have one question?
Yes, sir, please go ahead.
Is it the ERP based backend, or it can be integrated with the company's ERP?
It can be integrated with the company's ERP. It can be integrated with the company's ERP. It is a SAS, software as a service module.
What ERP you are already tested and no clash with the ERP?
No clash with the ERP. Yeah.
No, what ERP you have already tested?
We have not got the requirement. I mean, the one airport which we are using right now is the Cochin International Airport, where they were not keen on
They are not
integrating.
using an ERP.
That they haven't disclosed us, sir. But they are not keen on it. There is another this one. Maybe one-on-one I can tell you the other airports with which we are discussing. Those airports are little keen on integrating it with an ERP. The one concern which we get is with ERP thing, and the other one is data. So data is again airport, as we all know, data of an airport is very confidential, and again, yeah. So there, what do we say is that we show it to the airport, saying that it is being disseminated to the right channels with their authorization only, and the data can be installed with the data centers in the airport premises itself. So the airport will have total control on the data of the software.
That's not a big issue. Blockchain nowadays.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Youngsters there were wonderful questions out there. I've been hearing. So in addition to this, what I want to tell is that, the intention of bringing up this product of mine and showing it is that the software technology is not just the software which I own or which comes in. I mean to say the innovations or the technological integrations whichever is happening in aviation industry are quite dynamic. And when we see the skilled manpower, generally we see across the country people undergoing certain courses in particular to customer service, terminal operations, airside operations. But the importance of AI, ML, data analytics, business analytics, is cyber security, is very high, and the country certainly needs manpower in these areas. So the youngsters who are sitting here, the school children whom I have seen, that very smart in asking questions, should also look into these areas rather than just looking at aircraft as a flying machine or maybe as a dream to fly. The things behind will make it total airport management system. So the entire ecosystem, once it gets developed, that way that gets developed only when the skilled manpower comes. So all the generations out here, the upcoming generations or the Gen Zs who are all in front of here should be dynamic and should get upgraded continuously. Upskilling is one of such things, because sustainability of the human resources matters in this particular concept. So the students who were all upset those days when the pandemics were there, students who were all upset in those days, we will leave industry, we won't get any opportunities, goes to some other industry, then how about the human resources for the country? That remains as a question. So dynamic nature of understanding the requirement, understanding the innovations and coming out with a solution is what makes us to sustain ourselves and contribute to the ecosystem, I would say. And I sincerely thank the organizers for giving me this wonderful opportunity. And thanks to all for listening to me.
Thank you, sir. As you rightly said, any development that is not based on human index, it's not a development at all. Now, moving on to the next topic. I call upon Sri Thanigesh Arumugam Parthasarathy, Research Analyst, Frost and Sullivan. He is the Research Analyst at the GSAC team with experience in international market research and business strategy formulation involving primary and secondary market research in developing market model, market strategy formulation planning, product forecast formulations, I request Sri Tanikesh to deliver his lecture on Achieving Sustainability Through Urban Air Mobility Transportation Vision 2030. Stage is yours.
Thank you, Bhumi. And it's always hard to be a finisher, and again, it's much harder when it is post-noon session, and it is again harder if I'm going to finish the session by after following the people who have been having good experience, and their experience are equal to my age actually. So I'm just an analyst from Frost and Sullivan. As mentioned, we track the ongoing trends and upcoming trends in various sectors, and one such sector is the urban air mobility. So since morning we've been talking a lot about the aircrafts and the civil aviation's part, but this particular segment, the urban air mobility, is about shortening the travel and shortening the people who are getting into the aircraft, and also the size of the aircraft. So this is a micro-mobility challenge, or the micro-mobility solutions that we are talking about when we talk about the urban mobility. This is a very nascent phase, but then there are developments and there are improvements on the sustainability angle also. We have touched upon those sustainability angle, and I've just made a gist of what we have done through our research. So initially we start off with the urban air mobility by segregating it into 3 different areas. One of that is suburban commute, which is the least level of demand. Why? Because the urban air mobility, as the name stands, it is for the urban mobility commute. But there are possibilities in the suburban commute as well, which is on the upfront of applications that I have mentioned. To be specific, that related to the last and middle mile connectivity, and the air ambulance sectors. So those things could come under that particular segment. And the other 2 important areas are the shuttle services, and the other one is urban intra-city travel, which is traveling in between the cities as well as inside the cities as well, when it comes to the urban mobility. So this is how we have segregated, and the applications that we have specified would give you an idea that the urban air mobility is not just transporting people, but also transporting the cargo through the air transportation. And not just being that, but also the other applications. So moving on further, we have, in our particular study, we had segregated the urban air mobility into 4 different segments based on the operation and based on the type of vehicle that is being used. So out of that, we classified it as VTOL, lift cruise, and quadrotors and the helicopters. Why? Because we have chosen these 4 kinds is that the majority of applications and the majority of developments that's happening over here are in this particular area. So why this particular segmentation we have done is that this has a sustainability angle towards it. For example, the alternate fuels, if you take what are all the alternative fuels that is being developed in each and every area, we have tried to specify. And one more important challenge towards the sustainability curve when it comes to urban air mobility is that the noise challenge, the noise pollution. So what developments, the number of developments that's happening on the 4 different categories in terms of the noise, what are all the steps that companies are taking, companies are coming up by reducing the noise level. And when it comes to the manufacturing criticality, what do we mean is that we can club this manufacturing criticality to that of the modularity also. So when it comes to sustainability angle, when we talk about the manufacturing part, modularity comes a very important aspect wherein a particular vehicle or a particular be it an electric vehicle, be it an aircraft or whatever it is, the modularity will bring in the recycling ability, or easier recycling and replacing components will come into the modularity, because a particular component should be easier to get assembled and dismantled. So what are the researches that are going on in the aspects of modularity and the manufacturing capabilities? And the application areas, as mentioned earlier, what could be the possible application areas for these kind of vehicles in the urban air mobility? So this would give an idea about what's happening in the industry and what to look forward when it comes to the different kinds of transportation available with the urban air mobility. So next is about the eVTOL, which is why did we choose this? Is because the entire world, when we talk about moving towards electrifications and what's happening in urban air mobility aspects also, there are more developments on the eVTOL segment, which is the electric vertical takeoff landing type of vehicles. So most of the components and most of the type of vehicle that we have specified here has a significance towards sustainability also. So if we could take two of these examples, like the Urban Aeronautics and the Airbus, they have been researching on reducing the decibel or the noise pollution that the particular vehicle emits. So if you could see here, one particular company has brought it down to 78 decibel, the other particular company has brought it down to around 65 decibel, which is a greater improvement in terms of the sustainability angle. And when it comes to the Supernal, which is a collab with Hyundai, so there comes an angle of purpose-built vehicles or purpose-built aircrafts. So what does this purpose-built aircrafts brings to the sustainability angle is that the purpose-built aircrafts will have the components or the requirements that goes only specific to the applications that we have specified like earlier. These vehicles are not only going to use it for passenger transportation, but also for cargo transportation. So a purpose-built design will bring the number of components and the essential components to get into the vehicle, rather than having a typical design for a particular vehicle model. So this particular company has come up with that angle, and what I'm mentioning about EHang is about they have a prototype ready and they've started the manufacturing, and there are a lot of orders pulling up in the sector of eVTOL. So this is a global perspective of what's happening in the industry and how it is getting signified towards the sustainability. And most of the companies that we have also primarily interviewed to those companies, what they have mentioned is that 30 to 40% of their operating revenues that goes to infrastructure building, and 40% goes to the manufacturing. And now today they're spending around 0.2% to 1% of their of their operating revenues towards sustainability. But many of the companies that we have interviewed, they have mentioned that they are ready to invest more on the sustainability upfront if the vehicles are getting commercialized. So that is a one takeaway that we wanted to give in terms of looking at the companies, what they are actually looking at the sustainability perspective. So moving on further, this is one particular case study on Zuri. This company is a Czech Republic-based company which had come up with a sustainability design. When it comes to manufacturing a particular vehicle, today electric vehicles, of course, they are going to be an alternate vehicle, but then the circular economy and the manufacturing practices getting sustainable is also very important. In that way, this particular company had come up with a eVTOL which has been made out of the flax-based material, which is a plant-based polymer. This they are using instead of the plastics that has been used for the interior design of the vehicle. So what this vehicle has brought about is it has reduced the 70% of plastics being used in the eVTOL, and it has also reduced the 50% of the weight of the vehicle, which again improved the efficiency of the vehicle. So in this way, and this vehicle is also a hybrid kind of vehicle which uses the hydrogen cell techniques. What basically gives advantage when it comes to the sustainability angle is that 95% of the cells, that is battery cells that is being used in this particular vehicle, can be recycled, and the 5% of the left out can also be reused. So that is one more advantage that this particular vehicle is bringing up. So this is one idea, one initiative from a particular manufacturer which is giving out the sustainability angle when it comes to eVTOL, which is even in the very, very nascent phase of development. So companies are, what do we mean to say is that companies are looking forward towards sustainability even before the particular product is getting commercialized. So, as mentioned earlier, towards the sustainability, there are a lot of challenges when it comes to the urban air mobility perspective. But there are solutions that we have already discussed here. So, for example, the noise that we talked about, there are companies that are coming up with reducing the noise level, not drastically, but then continuous improvements, incremental reductions in the testings that has reduced the noise level. And when it comes to the security aspects as well, the companies that are looking out at the security aspects are bringing down or easing the manufacturing capabilities, and also the noise and rules and regulations that is being followed by many of the countries today. And when it comes to the fuel ranges, as mentioned earlier, the hybrid vehicles or the fuels are the particular vehicles that uses 2 or 3 kind of fuels in a particular vehicle itself. The vehicle range is getting increased. So that earlier when this particular segment was started, it was mainly focusing on the last mile delivery. But today, because the ranges are getting expanded, there are a lot of scope for middle mile delivery also, which means that connecting between the intercities are also possible because of these developments. And when it comes to the safety and takeoff and landing, the infrastructures that are being developed for the urban air mobility today are focusing on using the existing structures or using the existing malls or the ports, even the helipads which is existing today, to convert them into vertiports, which is again not just harming the environment, but also utilizing what is available today, and then getting trained or practice in the field which has been exposed to these kind of transportations, which gives another additional insight to what is happening today. And when it comes to safety angle, as mentioned earlier, the sustainability angle is one we need to look into, and the other angle is about the safety angle. So companies today working on this urban air mobility, as far as the nascent phase, the governments are also pushing out for this particular safety regulations. So they face a challenge, but then instead of looking at as a challenge, these companies, they've started to provide solutions to those challenges by a particular vehicle that I mentioned earlier. It is capable of landing both in water and on the land. And it has an emergency facilities that is very equivalent, or it is even more safer than using a normal commuting EV vehicle. That's what the level of safety standards that these companies are bringing about. So these are the challenges in terms of the achieving urban air mobility in various parts of the world. So moving towards the final phase is that what are the areas that basically gives out the urban air mobility in the future, and how it can be utilized towards the sustainability is what we talk about here. It's about the major aspect is to reduce the traffic congestions, because the major target of using these kind of vehicles is that to bring down what is happening below or on the surface, to reduce the traffic on the surface. And when it comes to the next is about the drones. Using these drones in hazardous areas and in waste management practices would replace the usage of human effort in those particular areas, and they are also prone to a lot of diseases and stuffs which could which could be greatly reduced by using the drones as well. And when it comes to the alternative fuels, as mentioned earlier, we had a segregation of different kinds of vehicles, and what are the different kinds of alternative fuels being exposed and how it is being used. As mentioned earlier, to use an alternative fuel or test an alternative fuel in a bigger aircrafts, which is challenging. But when it comes to these kind of aircrafts or these kind of vehicles, urban air mobility vehicles, it's easier, comparatively easier to test those fuels. And when it comes to sustainability angle in the manufacturing aspects, as mentioned earlier, as in the case study that we have mentioned, the type of components that goes into the vehicle should also be sustainable, should also be biodegradable, and it should also not pollute the environment. And when it comes to the urban commuting time, that is a major factor or major advantage of using an urban air mobility. And to pay more, that could be the challenge in the initial phases. But then to reduce the commuting time and to reach a particular place in a particular time is also one of the most important angle or future area for the urban mobility. And when it comes to disaster management, as mentioned earlier, the role of drones and the role of this VTOLs or eVTOLs in future during the disasters and military equipments is going to be very much or very huge, because these vehicles they are also being tested on the autonomous upfront. Earlier, when electrical vehicles were starting, electric vehicles had an ambition, had a particular segment of converting them into an autonomous vehicle. The similar aspect or the similar way of manufacturing is being followed by the eVTOL manufacturers also. So to make it unmanned or make it autonomous in the future, we'll have angle towards this military and disaster management to make it even more safer and secure and use it for a noble cause as well. So this is thoughts on the future of urban air mobility and how it will be. So thank you for your time and patience. So I just wanted to finish it off with a particular quote from a Tamil poet, Thiruvalluvar. Okay. Okay. So why? Because both the areas, military and the disaster areas, they come into action when it is not a regular basis, not a regular like air taxis or the shared mobility angle, which happens on a regular basis. But this is like whenever a particular time or whenever a particular need is there, only then this is reacting. That is why. Thank you so much for your time and patience. Thank you for listening.
You want to recite some poem also? That is good, yeah. The 2 minutes get to him, yeah. He's a poet. I am a poet, so I take, you see, his point. It's not his point. No problem.
It's not actually my point, but then it's a Tamil poet, Thiruvalluvar's stating.
Everybody knows it. Across the world, people know.
Okay, so it says Noi Nadi, Noi Mudal Nadi, Aditanikum, Vai Nadi, Vai Pachayam. So which means that you need to first identify what is the disease that you've got. Only then the doctor prescribes any kind of medicine that is to be given to you. Similarly, it can be applied to every part of any part of the word that we talk about. Today, when we talk about the sustainability angle, first we need to identify at which point are we lagging out, or in which point the sustainability curve is starting, and then identify it, and then provide a solution to it. Not rather than talking about the sustainability in a generic perspective, to identify it in a particular way, and then to address it in a particular way to give out results better.
You can recite in Tamil also, yeah. What is the problem?
Yeah, I said in Tamil.
The music, that sound, it
Okay.
makes the waves. Sound, you see, the words are not important, the feeling is important. We have narrated in English, everybody knows. Now in Tamil, let them hear.
So the saying says, Noi Nadi, Noi Mudal Nadi, Aditanikum, Vai Nadi, Vai Pachayam. Thank you. Thank you, Sri Venkatesh Pathasarthi.
As he has rightly pointed out, Diagnosis is the first step in realizing or accepting there is a problem. And I'm happy that we pointed out that issue. And we believe that this has set a right down in terms of achieving a greater vision towards 2030. End of chapter is just the beginning of the matter. Read on. The best part is always yet to come. I request Shri Vaibhav to take over the proceedings for closing statement. Since Mr. Tanikesh has invoked Thiruvalluvar, probably I will invoke one another Thiruvalluvar's short story. Nandri Marpal Nandandri. It's never great to forget what has been, what we are indebted. So, Mr. Vaibhavji, our beloved Managing Director, please, the stage is yours.
I'm very happy Mr. Praveen removed the timer because everybody else had one. So it's my privilege. I would like to thank you all again for coming. I know October is not the best month to do events because there's so many. We have Defense Expo coming up in a couple of days, so a lot of delegates were there, and just everybody who came in, who flew all the way here, who were there sharing their knowledge, you know. I was not here all the time, but obviously I was able to listen, I was able to see, because we have multiple TVs here and there. So, Baba sir, thank you so much for coming. Goel sir, it's my pleasure that you are here, and I think R.P. Kashyap sir here is there. Sir, thank you so much. I would like everybody to applaud for him, because मैंने बस एक बार सर को कॉल किया कि मुझे इवेंट करना है, एंड लोग बोलते हैं कि सरकारी काम में देर लगता है, बट सर ने अप्रूवल 2 मिनट में दे दिया था. 2 minutes is what it took, right? So thank you so much, sir. I know आप टाइम निकाल के आए हैं, right? And thank you to all the speakers. We have just 2 announcements to make, and we can wrap up for the day. We are going to start up a center of drone excellence. We have called it as COD. The first one we have successfully done in Mewar University, and it is in collaboration with my friend Mridul's company, Vimana Technologies. I would like to invite Mridul on stage. I would also like to invite Kaisar Alam, and a big round of applause for Kaisar, because he was the one taking care of photos and all your videos today. Kaisar, please. And Shreyash, my good friend, is here. He's also part of the drone team, right? So can you just bring the banner? I would also like to call my chairman, Shri Andy Kotwani ji, on the stage. Speaking of the next announcement, I think both Baba sir and Goel sir were there in EMRO 1, right? So by nature we have to announce part 2, right? So hereby announce EMRO chapter 2 next April in New Delhi, right? I will let you know about the venue, other details. We are open for speakership options and everything else. So next Delhi, I'll probably see all of you again back there. Atul ji, I am Patna especially. Thank you so much, sir. And I see a lot of Kulkarni sir has flown away all the way from Mumbai. I met him in Thakur Institute of Aviation Technology. Sheer gentleman to share the room with. I see my cousin brother has come all the way. Rupendra Bhaiya, he's from IIM Kashipur. Right. So. Yes, sir. I was starting from there and down. Yeah, yeah. And sir has come all the way from Mumbai. Yesterday, unfortunately, the audience yesterday was not able to come today due to Defense Expo commitments. They all had to go to Ahmedabad. Yesterday's crowd was majorly ex-army men, ex-Air Force, ex-Navy. The theme, just to remind the audience, was importance of military education, which is something I remember here. Mr. AM Air Marshal Rajiv Sachdev was sitting here, and I still remember his word. He said कि 45 साल हम लोग नौकरी करते हैं फौज में, उसके बाद बाहर जाते हैं जॉब मांगने के लिए, तो हमें पूछा जाता है मॉल के आगे तुम वो शीशा लगा के गाड़ी चेक करोगे क्या? This is what we are valued as. right? And it is very sad, very sad. लोगों को मेजर जनरल और कर्नल में अंतर नहीं पता. They feel very proud. नारे लगाने के लिए तो बहुत अच्छी बात है. But to realize what our armed forces do for us. So that was our theme for day one. We were very lucky to have several Air Vice Marshals and Air Marshals coming in, speaking, telling, educating us about what we should already anyway know, right? And that is where I set up the tone for the next event. I would like to invite Dr. Goel, Ashwini sir, please. All of you are sitting, please come down here. We would like to announce the next chapter of EMR, so please. Yeah. Yes. Sir, please. So before that, I would like to invite R.P. Kashyap sir for his. I don't know, मैं thank कह ही नहीं सकता. इतना support रहा है उनका. Sir, please.
आदरणीय हमारे एक्स जोन डीजी साहब भी बैठे हुए हैं. रावत साहब नमस्कार. और श्री वैभव जी, आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद एविएट गुरु की तरफ से. अभी जो इंडियन एविएशन एकेडमी है, इसमें मैं एज ए डायरेक्टर ऑपरेशंस ट्रेनिंग का काम मैं देख रहा हूँ. और आई एम पोस्टेड फ्रॉम द डायरेक्टर जनरल ऑफ सिविल एविएशन. तो ये पहली आई थिंक प्रोग्राम है जो हमने प्राइवेट कंपनी का किसी का किया है. एंड वी हैव ओपनड दिस एकेडमी फॉर द फिक्की ऑल्सो. वी आर गोइंग टू हैव ए मीटिंग विद फिक्की. वी वांट टू हैव दिस एकेडमी ओपन फॉर ऑल एविएशन एक्टिविटी. और इसमें पायलट्स, एयर ट्रैफिक कंट्रोलर्स, कुछ बहुत सारे कोर्सेज हम कराने जा रहे हैं. इस एकेडमी को अभी मतलब वी आर गोइंग टू मेक दिस एकेडमी टू द मोर इंडस्ट्री फ्रेंडली. जो हमारे प्रधानमंत्री मोदी साहब का स्वप्न है कि इंडस्ट्री के साथ हमें पार्टनरशिप और कदम से कदम मिला के चलना, सबका साथ सबका विकास के हिसाब से हम चल रहे हैं. अभी जो आपने एक ड्रोन के ऊपर कहा कि ड्रोन एक्सीलेंस सेंटर, क्योंकि मैं पहला डायरेक्टर ऑपरेशंस ड्रोन डीजी से कर रहा हूँ, तो मैं दो शब्द बोलना चाहूँगा कि हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी का विजन है कि ड्रोन में हम ड्रोन हब ऑफ द वर्ल्ड हमारा बनने का टारगेट है बाई 2030. तो इतने यंग यहाँ पर हमारे बच्चे स्टूडेंट्स बैठे हैं, तो ड्रोन में हमारे यहाँ बहुत फ्यूचर है. और गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने एक बहुत अच्छी पॉलिसी ड्रोन रूल 2021 लॉन्च किया है. ड्रोन में काफ़ी ट्रेनिंग सेंटर हमने खोल दिए हैं. भारत सरकार ने 31 ड्रोन ट्रेनिंग सेंटर खोले हैं. ड्रोन में एक PLI स्कीम है जिसमें आप हमें सबसे ज़्यादा ज़रूरत ड्रोन में आज के टाइम में क्या है कि पार्ट्स की, हम पार्ट्स अभी जो है बहुत कम मैन्युफैक्चर कर पा रहे हैं. जो आपने विमानन कंपनी मिस्टर जैन, आई मेट हिम इन हिमाचल प्रदेश में, मैं उनसे मिला था. तो जो हमारे यंग स्टूडेंट्स हैं, हमारे यंग एंटरप्रेन्योर हैं, IITs हैं, उनके साथ भी हमने एक मीटिंग की थी कि जो फ्लाइट कंट्रोलर्स हैं, पार्ट्स हैं ड्रोन के, वो यहाँ बने. और अपने टाइम में मैंने बहुत सारी कंपनीज को अप्रिसिएशन लेटर भी दिए हुए हैं बाहर के प्रोजेक्ट लेने के लिए. उन्होंने अफ्रीका और इधर के टेंडर भरने के लिए, मतलब कोई देता नहीं है भारत सरकार में, लेकिन मैंने उन्हें बोला आपने काम किया तो मैंने अपने आप साइन करके दिया हुआ है. तो ये एक आपका अच्छा शुरुआत है. इस तरह की कॉन्फ्रेंस होनी चाहिए और आगे भी हम आपसे आशा करते हैं कि आपका हमारे साथ सहयोग रहेगा. और बाकी जो अदर एविएशन बॉडीज हैं, जैसे इंडियन वीमेन पायलट एसोसिएशन, पायलट एसोसिएशन ऑफ इंडिया, एयर ट्रैफिक कंट्रोलर्स गिल्ड और DGC के जो दूसरे प्रोग्राम भी हैं, हम वो यहाँ सभी को परमिशन देने के लिए हम कृतज्ञ हैं. उससे हमें भी फ़ायदा है कि हमें आप लोगों के साथ इंटरेक्शन करने का, आनी तो 5 to 7, 9:30 to 6 और 7 विजिट इन द ऑफिस, रिमेनिंग ऑफ ई ऑफिस फाइल खेलते हुए, तो हमें भी आपके साथ पता लगता है कि आप कहाँ हैं और हम आपको किस तरह से आपका सहयोग कर सकते हैं. क्योंकि रेगुलेटर का जो काम है वो इंडस्ट्री को आगे बढ़ाना है. पॉलिसी बनाना हमारा काम है. पॉलिसी कैसे बनेगी, देश को में कैसे आगे बढ़ाना, वो इनपुट एक दूसरे के साथ बैठ के शेयर हो. तो इसी के साथ मेरा बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. आप सभी को नमस्कार.
You see, it is a nice occasion that director of the academy is here. I would like to tell him one thing. आपसे मुखातिब एक बात. When I was director here, I conceptualized an idea for an award, Best Aerospace Award and Best Pilot Award. Unfortunately, I had the team of all airlines HR heads with me. So after my retirement, it could not follow further. I talked to Weber, and they are stakeholders from the aviation industry. You see, without money, without sponsors, nothing works out. Airlines were with me, and they will be with me again. I need support from the director also. This is my idea there, it is on paper, on record with the chairman approval and all. So kindly coordinate with Weber so that what a founder director of this campus has initiated, you should be able to crystallize my dream. Thank you.
Finally, I would just like to unveil the poster of the next edition of EMRO. Finally, सबसे पीछे विशाल जी बैठे हुए हैं. So nothing in aviation is possible without him. We would like to, we are very proud to call Aviation World as our media partner, which always will be in the upcoming future, no matter what the number of events. I would like to call Vishal Kashyap ji to come here and give the concluding remarks. I think I've spoken a lot. Please, Vishal ji.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to say that I met Vaibhav around 7 to 8 months back, and we were discussing about Aviation project. And that time I found this Vaibhav having lot many plans that we discussed. And today I am so happy to see that Aviation has done this kind of event. Thanks to all the delegates, thanks to Aviation team, thanks to Mr. Andy Kotwani, and thanks to Vaibhav for giving me this opportunity, and we are so happy and blessed to be media partner of this event. Thank you.
Since there was a lot of thank you, I don't think so I should start with thank you. Now we come to the formal closure of the ceremony. High tea is being served in the same lunch area. I would request all of you to have it. And personally thank everyone from the bottom of my heart to encourage us and motivate us to achieve our mission of making sure